there. This is Jason with the National Weather Service. We do have a potentially significant event coming up, so want to detail that for you guys. Going to be for Sunday into Monday. We did go ahead and upload the PowerPoint and the PDF to the website, so hopefully you got it. Let us know if you did not get that. It does take a while sometimes to get there. So let's see here. Looking at the main points for this event, tornado and severe threat on Sunday into Monday. We do have it starting Sunday morning. There will be some thunderstorms, but there's still a lot of questions surrounding, do we have enough energy to fuel a thunderstorm Sunday morning? But certainly by the time we get to Sunday afternoon, into the evening, overnight Sunday night, and even into Monday morning. Notice we are saying severe thunderstorm outbreak likely, no longer the potential for that. It looks like it's going to be for much of the southeast U.S., and that includes all of north and central Georgia as well. The main areas we're going to be focused in our areas are going to be the western tier, and then of course over central Georgia too. But all areas will have at least some potential for severe weather. So this is likely to be a multiple round event. It's going to be persisting again for a long period of time, Sunday through Sunday night and into Monday morning. But we will get breaks in between. We'll just have multiple rounds coming through affecting the area. Main impacts, tornadoes. We could have some strong long track tornadoes possible with this event. Tornadoes are likely, it's just whether we're going to get them as strong tornadoes and long track tornadoes. So damaging winds, that's going to probably be the highest threat, although tornadoes are right there with it. And you'll see in our threat matrix that we've increased the tornadoes to match up along with the damaging winds as well. And then hail and heavy rain, some localized flooding possible. And that's going to be mainly up in far north Georgia, which we'll show you here in a second. So as far as the potential watches, tornado watch, we're definitely going to be getting a tornado watch, multiple watches with this event. There's just no getting around that. They're likely going to be Sunday afternoon and then persisting Sunday night into Monday morning. So multiple rounds of tornado watches. A little less certain about the flooding, but there is the potential for a flash flood watch for north and northeast Georgia. We're just going to watch and see how this evolves and the need for that, which would likely come out sometime during the overnight period tonight. So here's the latest outlook. Right now, the moderate risk remains just west of the area, but I can't emphasize enough that we do expect this to be a significant event and would not be surprised if that moderate risk is even brought further to the east with later issuances by the Storm Prediction Center. That said, we still have an enhanced risk, which is a level 3 over northwest Georgia, which with this recent one has been expanded to include most all of our area now. So slight risk down there to the far southeast. That's going to be mainly for Monday morning. Timing again, mainly Sunday afternoon. We do have some threat for some storms Sunday morning, but mainly Sunday afternoon into early Monday. And then those main threats again, tornadoes, damaging winds, hail, and flash flooding, pretty much get a mixed bag of everything with this severe event. We get to break it down a little bit with the day 2 now. So this is the severe wind risk, which is the highest right now. And you can see every one of these graphics that I've shown you or going to show you will indicate that the probabilities have increased across the area. And to the west, which is significant because those probabilities could be expanded further east as well as time goes on. And so 45% there over Alabama, which is extremely high for a wind risk for day 2. Even 30% is very high, and that encompasses all of our areas. So we're looking at a 30% chance severe wind probability over our area. So damaging winds are likely with these storms as they come through. And then the tornado risk. That's been expanded, and the main thing to look at is that hatched area there in blue, which indicates a significant tornado. And so significant tornado meaning a strong long track tornado. And so those are the ones that we're really worried about. And in fact, that 10% risk has been, or the 10% risk has been expanded, but also the hatched area has been expanded to include the Atlanta Metro, Columbus, Rome, all of those areas in West Georgia, all the way up to the Atlanta Metro, now have that hatched area indicating significant tornadoes possible with this event. So going to be watching that closely. Again, this hatched area could be expanded further east as well, maybe to include that Americas, Macon, Dublin area. We'll be watching that as time goes on as well. Hail risk, the majority of the hatched area remains over Alabama, so that would be indicating like 1 3/4 inch hail or larger. Most of that remains to the west, but still could see 1.5 inch hail across our area with some of the storms. So still 15% chance of that, which again, don't pay too much attention to the percentages, even though I just pointed it out, but these percentages for these are actually quite high as we get into day 2. And then as we get into day 3, this will be shifting to the southeast. We still have slight risk. I wouldn't let my guard down over our southeast portions at all, especially Monday morning. As I'll show you, we'll still have the energy for thunderstorms and tornadoes over that area as we get into Monday morning. So here is how this is going to evolve. I'm going to go through several slides here. The one on the left is showing a radar interpretation of what the radar might look like as we get towards the event. The image on the right in each of these is the amount of energy for tornado formation that we have. And so anywhere that you see the shading, the blue shading indicates tornado potential. And then as you get into, look at that over Alabama, Mississippi, as we get into the yellows, oranges, reds, and even some of that pink color, it's just through the roof as far as the tornado potential. So we'll see how that evolves. We have a warm front that's going to lift north and initially Sunday morning. A lot of uncertainty about where the thunderstorms are going to break out initially, but right now it looks like it's going to be somewhere along that warm front, maybe the Atlanta metro, maybe a little further north. Initially, the tornado parameters are not going to be there. We're going to be looking mainly at hail, perhaps wind with these thunderstorms, if they're able to develop into strong thunderstorms at all. So that's the one that we're the most uncertain about, is Sunday morning. But as we get into Sunday afternoon, we actually could see a little bit of a break. So we're not confident enough to say when those breaks are going to be, but it looks like sometime during the day Sunday, as the warm front lifts north and we're waiting for the cold front to come in, there is going to be a break across northwest, even most of North Georgia, it looks like, and certainly central Georgia. It looks like not going to see all that much activity. The activity mainly is going to be in the form of showers across that northwest portion. Thunderstorms are going to remain well west over Alabama and Mississippi initially. So even though the tornado parameters are there and will be increasing and heading north, as you see on the image to the right, we're not sure we're going to see that much activity initially. And again, I don't want you to key on a time frame. It's just sometime during the day on Sunday, it looks like there's going to be a break, and then followed by quickly deteriorating conditions. And that's shown here. So anytime late Saturday afternoon into Sunday evening, the tornado parameters, you can see we're starting to get into those yellow, oranges, and reds, and that's certainly enough to see tornadoes across the area. You can see where tornado energy is the highest. We still don't have quite the coverage of precipitation yet, so that's one saving grace. But as we look over Alabama and then getting into northwest Georgia, we're starting to see the combination of precipitation and the tornado parameter coming together. So as we get anytime, looks like late Saturday, Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening, that's when those two will come together. Looks like starting over the western portions of the area. So here's where it gets a little scary. This is around midnight, but I want to emphasize these systems can come through much faster. So it could be as early as 9 p.m. This activity coming through, and you can see the thunderstorms moving into northwest Georgia and then all the way down the western tier. And then on the image on the right, the tornado energy is starting to be maximized in conjunction with that. So with those two in combination, anytime tomorrow evening into the overnight hours, we're going to see a line come through that's going to have severe winds, but also the threat to produce some significant tornadoes across the area. So we're going to be watching that closely. As that transitions, this says 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. Again, if you're going to shade one way, make it earlier. So it could be as early as midnight. Moving into the Atlanta metro, you can see some of the tornado energy has shifted east, but we get a new round coming up from the south. So can't let our guard down. It certainly looks like severe winds and tornadoes will be possible even after midnight as this activity comes through. And then this is getting into 7 a.m. Monday. So the activity has shifted south of Columbus, affecting Macon and our southeast portions there. We still have the energy to produce tornadoes by this time. So even though we're in slight risk, we still have a good threat for tornadoes across the area, even across the southeast portions. Here's our threat levels and confidence for the event. We've increased the tornadoes to match up with the wind threat. Now, again, this really means, will we see tornadoes from this event? Yes. Okay, so we're pretty confident we're going to see tornadoes. Where our confidence is not quite as high as will we see the strong, long-lived tornadoes and how many of those we could potentially see. So, but just strictly thinking in terms of the occurrence of tornado, we think there's pretty high likelihood we're going to see those with this event. So matched it up in that 4 category with the damaging winds. Rainfall is pretty high, and we're going to watch that closely because there is some threat over northeast Georgia that could go even higher, so we may be increasing that as well. And the forecast confidence, we've increased that one. This is going to be a severe event where there's going to be an outbreak somewhere across the southeast. The question is how far east that'll translate. So we've increased that to a level 4 for this event. So looking at history and context, we want to put this into a little context for everybody. And so this is looking at the cases that have been similar environments to this. So the top 15 most similar environments tell us that an outbreak is likely. And so that's primarily going to be over Mississippi and Alabama, but you can see how those contours stretch into west central Georgia too. And the question is going to be how far east will it translate? And so some of the parameters we're seeing, we think that certainly West Georgia will get in on the act as far as having what we would classify as an outbreak. It's just going to depend on how far east that goes, and that's what we're going to be looking at through this evening and through tomorrow morning. This certainly has the potential, though, to be in the top 5 for most significant severe events we've seen in the last 10 years. So we don't think right now we're going to be rivaling anything with 2011, certainly, but top 5 for this event is certainly in play for the last 10 years for most significant events. Although we aren't in moderate risk right now, you know, we're going to be watching to see if that gets expanded eastward. Just as a to let you guys know, the last moderate risk we had for the area was April 5th, 2017. So just to give a little context on that, this is going to be a significant event. So I want everybody to pay attention. Rainfall as well, just want to, again, totals 1 to 3 inches in general, but look at that northeast corridor, we could be getting higher amounts up close to 4 inches. So that's where the excessive rainfall is highlighted up there for the northern tier, Sunday and early Monday. Before I get into the summary, just wanted to speak briefly about the shelter-in-place guidelines with the COVID activities. I know you guys have been asking questions about that, and so we're just telling people to, you know, adhere to emergency manager guidelines, the local emergency management. We can't really speak on the community shelter practices, but listening to the emergency managers, and we do know that GEMA was working on some guidelines as well to get out to the field. So I would definitely reach out to them as far as guidance on that. So in summary, again, tornado and severe wind threat Sunday into Monday, much of the southeast U.S., including our area, going to be a long-term event with tornadoes, damaging winds, hail, and heavy rain. So with that, I will take any questions here on the GoToWebinar. So let's see.